Hey guys, welcome back to Obsessed with Videos for another update. This time it's a multimedia update as I've got, and it's quite a big one as well, as I've got 14 cinema tickets, 2 OWV posters, and 14 DVDs. So let's start off with the cinema tickets, in which the first one is The Amazing Spider-Man, the 2012 film's one that stars Andrew Garfield, which is rated 12A. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on August 27th, 2024 at 1:10 p.m. and I was in screen 8 and I was in row M and seat 13. Next one is the 2024 The Crow, the new one that stars Bill Skarsgård, the one that's apparently got negative reviews from critics, but I still enjoyed it for what it was, probably because I haven't seen the original one with Brandon Lee and, yeah, you know the rest. But anyway, the film is rated 18. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on September 2nd, 2024 at 6:20 p.m. and I was in screen 12 and I was in row K and seat 5. Next one is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is rated 12A. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on September 4th, 2024 at 4:10 p.m. and I was in screen 7 and I was in row H and seat 18. Also, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was originally released in 2014, so over 10 years ago. Next one is Blink Twice, which is rated 15. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on September 10th, 2024 at 1:20 p.m. and I was in screen 10 and I was in row E and seat 2. Next one is another classic film showing, Batman and Robin from 1997, which, even though it says it's rated PG on the cinema ticket, it actually has the 12A rating at the start because this was recently reclassified by the BBFC as a 12 for a theatrical re-release. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on September 11th, 2024 at 7:15 p.m. and I was in screen 6 and I was in row H and seat 4. Next one is Deadpool and Wolverine, which is now the highest grossing film of all time to be rated R by the Motion Picture Association in America, beating out 2019's Joker, which was the first R-rated film to be rated to cross $1 billion at the box office. This was the second one to do so, and beat out Joker to become the highest grossing R-rated film of all time, as I mentioned previously. We'll get more into Joker a bit later because you'll see. Anyway, Deadpool and Wolverine is rated 15. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on September 17th, 2024 at 2:10 p.m. and I was in screen 3 and I was in row K and seat 9. Next one is The Critic, which is rated 15. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on September 18th, 2024 at 3 p.m. and I was in screen 1, row F and seat 8. Next one is another classic film with Star Wars: A New Hope, originally released in 1997, although not 1997, 1977, although this was the special edition from 1997. Sorry if I was getting them mixed up, but anyway, the film is rated U as it was since it was first released, and has always been rated U since then. And I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on September 24th, 2024 at 1:15 p.m. and I was in screen 7, row J and seat 22. Next one is Beetlejuice, which is the sequel, obviously the sequel to the 1988 Tim Burton classic Beetlejuice. This one was released 36 years after the original, the same time gap between Top Gun and its 2022 sequel, Top Gun Maverick. So they both share some similarities in their sequel gap. Anyway, Beetlejuice was rated 12A. I saw it at Cineworld in Castleford on September 25th, 2024 at 1:20 p.m. and I was in Screen 7, Row J and Seat 22. That's the exact same seat I was same area I was in to watch Star Wars and New Hope. And you'll see with the rest of the Screen 7 tickets in this update, that is the row I'll be sat in for each of the films I see in there. And the next one is actually The Empire Strikes Back. Originally released in 1980 and had its special edition re-release in 1997 and was re-released in 2020 for its 40th anniversary, although I didn't go and see it because of, well, the pandemic, and I was limiting the amount of cinema trips I was having at the time, and I didn't have much confidence in going out, which is why the only films I saw during that period in 2020, both were classic films as well, though, but they were Flash Gordon and the original Karate Kid, if you may remember. And that was it during like that summer period in summer 2020 when cinemas were briefly open before, oops, we've got locked down again. That was what happened, as you may remember. Anyway, Empire Strikes Back is rated PG, just like it was when it was re-released in 2020, theatrically, during the pandemic. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on October 1st, 2024 at 4:15 p.m. and I was in Screen 7 and I was in Row J and Seat 22 again. Next one is actually another classic film, Mean Girls, the 20th anniversary re-release of the 2004 cult classic. And this might be a hot take. I actually prefer the new musical version, the 2024 Mean Girls film, over the original 2004 film. Maybe that's just because I saw that one first before this one, and maybe I prefer some of the actors in that one more than the original. I still think Lindsay Lohan and the other actors do good performances in the 2004 film, but I think in the 2024 version, some of the other actresses like Renee Rapp and Avantika, I think that's how you pronounce her name, did good performances in the new version. Anyway, the film is rated 12A, as it was when it was originally released in 2004 as well. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on October 3rd, 2024 at 2:10 p.m. and I was in Screen 7 and I was in Row J and Seat 22. And also, with the re-release of this film, it was nice to see the old 2002 Paramount logo back on the big screen. And it helped to bring back some childhood memories for me, seeing that logo on the big screen once again. For the first time in probably over a decade. I think the last time I saw it in front of a film on the big screen was Transformers Dark of the Moon. And that as an opening version on Transformers Dark of the Moon. And I saw that film when I was only 8 years old in 2011. So that was like 13 years ago. Shows how time flies, doesn't it? And now on to the next ticket, which is for another classic film, Zombieland, which was originally released in 2009, but has been re-released for Cineworld's horror season this year. The film is rated 15, as it was when it was originally released in 2009. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on October 4th, 2024, at 7:45 p.m, and I was in Screen 3, so a break from Screen 7 on this one, and I was in Row K and Seat 3. The next one is Return of the Jedi, the final film in the original Star Wars trilogy, meaning that I've seen all of the original Star Wars films on the big screen, like all the original trilogy, which is not something that many people my age can say, because the last time they were all released on the big screen was back in 1997, and I wasn't even born yet at that time. So this is quite an achievement for me in terms of films I've watched at the cinema. The original Star Wars trilogy on the big screen, as it was meant to be seen. Anyway, the film was rated PG, and I was going to mention that Return of the Jedi was originally released in 1983, as you may know, and its special edition, of course, was re-released in 1997. And again, it was re-released in 2023. Although I didn't see it at the time because of other films I was planning to see back in April 2023. However, I did manage to see it. However, I managed to see it on this occasion. Anyway, again, Return of the Jedi was rated PG, as it was when it was also re-released in 2023 and reclassified in 2023. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on October 7th, 2024, at 1:10 p.m, and I was in Screen 12, so this is the only one of the original Star Wars trilogy films that I didn't see in Screen 7, because New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, both of them I saw in Screen 7, as you've just seen. This one was in Screen 12, though, and I was in row K and seat 5. And now we're going back to Screen 7, not with a Star Wars film, not even with a film that's affiliated with Disney, but with a Warner Brothers film, which is Joker Folie à Deux, which, as you may know, is the sequel to the 2019 billion-dollar hit Joker. However, with this one, even though I enjoyed the film for what it was, and I actually enjoyed the opening animated segment of the film, the Looney Tunes-inspired animation done by Sylvain Chomet, who was also responsible for films like The Illusionist and Belleville Rendezvous, or The Triplets of Belleville if you live in America, and the latter of which I actually watched a bit of it back in 2010 when I was only 7 years old. So with that being an adult animated feature, it was quite mature for me, but I still enjoyed it for what it was when I saw a bit of it back in 2010. And that was during the time when, I would have seen films like Shrek Forever After and Toy Story 3. And yet, I ended up watching a bit of this adult animated film during that same time. Well, adult, 12 rated. It's not like it was 15 rated, because at that point I wouldn't have been able to watch it at the time, because I was only 7 years old, and at the time I wasn't allowed to watch 15 or 18 rated stuff anyway. And also, in terms of other adult animated films, I also watched the Simpsons movie in the cinema back in 2007 when I was only 4 years old. But then again, The Simpsons is kind of more family oriented. Even though it is PG-13 in America, it's still PG in the UK, and it still has some family appeal, and it has more family appeal than something like South Park or Family Guy, obviously. Because obviously I wasn't allowed to watch them at the time, but I was allowed to watch The Simpsons. But anyway, one of the highlights of Joker Folie à Deux, as I mentioned, was the animated sequence, the Looney Tunes-inspired animated sequence by Sylvain Chomet. But the rest of the film was enjoyable. It was fine. I don't think it was as bad as some people are making it out to be, probably because they were disappointed by the results of Joker 2, because of how good the first Joker was to some people. They came in with high expectations and they were not met. It's kind of similar to how people felt about Lightyear a couple of years ago, because they were expecting Toy Story level from Lightyear, but really it's a different film from Toy Story, and they ended up becoming disappointed because of those high expectations not being met. And it's kind of the same thing here, and as a result, it looks like Joker 2 is kind of the opposite in terms of what its original did at the box office, where Joker 1 had a small budget, made over $1 billion. This one has a high amount of 200 million, which it it doesn't really need to be that much. It doesn't really look like a film that would be a $200 million film. And it's likely to underperform or lose money, or even lose money and become a box office bomb. And yeah, it shows what's been happening with DC as a whole for the past few years. Like, this is proof that even if you're not part of the failed DCEU, if you're still a separate DC film, you can still underperform. And this is why we need to wait and see on Superman Legacy next year, which starts the new DC universe with James Gunn and Peter Safran in charge. So we'll have to see on that one, but it feels like it could go either way at this point. Anyway, Joker Folie à Deux was rated 15. Anyway, Joker Folie à Deux was rated 15. I saw it at Cineworld in Castleford on October 8th, 2024 at 1:10 p.m. And I was in Screen 7, Row J and Seat 22 again. Just like with some of the Star Wars films, as well as Mean Girls and Beetlejuice. And now on to the two OWV posters in which I've done for this update, in which the first one is Judy, starring Renee Zellweger. Judy Garland, the legend behind the rainbow. So this is the Judy Garland biopic that stars Renee Zellweger. And it was rated 12A. Its original release year was 2019. Its UK theatrical release date was October 2nd, 2019, so around the time the first Joker came out in cinemas. And its UK theatrical distributor was Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. And it was released by 20th Century Fox, Pathé, BBC Films, Calamity Films, and Ingenious Media. Also, with this being released by Pathé and Fox, this was one of the few films that Pathé released with 20th Century under the Disney ownership. I think the others were Pain and Glory, The Human Voice, and Misbehavior. And then after that, they moved over to Warner Brothers for a bit to do films like Parallel Mothers, The Duke. I'm trying to think about what else they did. Notre Dame on Fire, The Lost King, Alleluia, Strange Way of Life, and finally The Great Escaper. And then after that, unfortunately, Pathé's UK film division shut down due to factors like the strikes, the pandemic, and basically just other factors in the industry at the moment. They claim those are the same reasons why Entertainment One UK shut down, but I think another one of the reasons why that ended up shutting down was because Lionsgate was about to acquire Entertainment One, and basically Entertainment One and Lionsgate UK have basically fused together at this point. Although I still have yet to see any of Entertainment One's titles on the Elevation Sales Planet of Entertainment website. Like, I think as of currently, the Entertainment One titles are still available on the Warner Brothers UK website through Entertainment One's home media deal with Universal and Warner Brothers. However, with Pathé's films, on the other hand, which were previously distributed by Warner Brothers, now Pathé's UK library has been absorbed into Studio Canal, and you can see that if you look up any of Pathé's films on Studio Canal UK's website, or even if you buy any reprints of Pathé DVDs at somewhere like HMV, you'll notice it'll say distributed by Studio Canal and stuff. And it even has, I think they even have like the category number on the spine, which is something they obviously didn't have during their time at Warner. And also you can find Pathé's titles on the Planet of Entertainment Elevation Sales website as well. So that means the Pathé UK library has pretty much been absorbed into Studio Canal at this point. And the final poster in this update is another film from 2019 that begins with Judy and Punch, which is rated 15. Its original release year was 2019. Its UK theatrical release date was November 22nd, 2019, and its UK theatrical distributor was Picture House Entertainment. And also, this being released in November 2019, this makes this film one of the first films to feature the recent 15 certificate, the recent BBFC symbols, as Judy, released the month prior, was one of the last films to feature the 2002 or 2003 BBFC symbols. Anyway, Judy and Punch was released by Picture House Entertainment, Cornerstone Films, Film Victoria, Vice Studios, Screen Australia, Create New South Wales or Create NSW, and also Blue Tongue Films and Pariah Entertainment. Now on to the 14 DVDs, in which the first one is Brian Jacques Redwall. Into every child's life comes a time to be a hero. A powerful tale of fantasy, courage, and epic adventure. This is a release from Abbey Home Media, Tempo Video, and Nelvana International from 2002. The episodes themselves are from 1999, but they were compiled together into a package film in 2001 and later released and it says 2001, but I think it was originally released on video in 2000 and later released on DVD in 2002. And it's also got the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s U rating, in addition to the style that Disney were using at the time, making this, I believe, one of the first DVD releases from Abbey Home Media, and one of the few to have that style age rating. And there's the disc itself, and this is clearly, I think this is a reprint from like the late 2000s, probably 2007 or probably 2007, because it has the Christmas classics from Abbey Home Media leaflet on the inside, advertising like several Tempo Classics DVDs and several Tempo Preschool DVDs, several DVDs of stuff like Baby Bright, Spot, Bumper Favourites 2, Paddington Bear, the original Filmfare series, as well as stuff like the Koala Brothers, and which Abbey Home Media released the later DVDs of Koala Brothers because the earlier ones were released by Momentum Pictures. And also a DVD of Babar, which is another Nelvana property, and probably one of Nelvana's oldest properties since it started back in, I believe, 1989. Is when Nelvana started adapting the books into a series and films as well. And there's the disc for Redwall itself. And the next few DVDs I've got to show are actually all Redwall ones, the next three at least. The next one is Brian Jacques Matameo, A Tale of Redwall, The Abyss. This is a release from Maverick Entertainment and Nelvana International from 2005. Also available, Matameo, Tale of Redwall, Slagar the Slaver, and To Be a Warrior. And the episodes on this DVD are The Abyss, Malcaris, Battle, Reunited, and Return to Redwall. And there's the disc itself. So, as mentioned, this was one of the last of the three Redwall DVD releases from Maverick before before Nelvana switched to Fremantle Media, in which I'll be showing. The next two are actually Fremantle released DVDs of Redwall, in which the first one is Redwall Clooney the Scourge from Fremantle Media and Nelvana Kids from 2008. It doesn't say what the episodes are on here, but I know one of them's Clooney the Scourge, and can't really remember what the other episodes were. And I forgot to print a leaflet out for it, so never mind. Plus the fact that when it came to Fremantle's DVD releases of Nelvana IP from like 2008, they didn't even bother putting the episodes on there. What were they thinking? I honestly don't know, because sometimes it's important to put the names of the episodes on the DVD so that people know what's in there. This was, and this is an error that Fremantle did on multiple of the Nelvana DVDs they released, unfortunately. And there's the disc itself. And the next one is Redwall Clooney's Clowns. Again, a Fremantle and Nelvana release. This one's from 2009, and this does actually have the episode list on it this time, thankfully. I think by 2009, Fremantle and Nelvana were noticing the errors on the backs of their DVDs, and they started to fix that. Especially in one of the other updates, when I compared a DVD of Little Bear that they released in 2008 to a Maggie and the Ferocious Beast DVD that they released in 2009, and the 2009 DVD had the episode list while the 2008 DVD did not. Anyway, the episodes on this DVD are Sparrow's Kingdom, High Standards, Captain Snow, and Battle Plans. And there's the disc itself. And in terms of the shows that Nelvana did, this is probably one of the darkest or more darker shows they did, instead of the more comedic or even more preschool friendly DVDs, preschool friendly or more comedic shows that they weren't known for doing and still do to this day. And moving away from Redwall now, the next DVD is Undiscovered, starring Pell James, Stephen Strait, Ashley Simpson, and Kip Pardue. They Knew Each Other by Heart. This is a release from Universal. The film itself is from 2005, but the DVD is from 2007. This is also a film from Lakeshore Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and Cinerenta Feature Films. And Lionsgate released the film in the United States, but Universal did it over here. And there's the disc itself. And the next one is a much more recent release. Probably the most recent release I've got after this, as of this video. It's The Watched. Written for the screen and directed by Ishana Night Shyamalan, which is one of the daughters of producer M. Night Shyamalan. This is a release from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment from August 27th of 2024. And it's the first Warner Brothers release I've got to have their new Warner Brothers Home Entertainment logo on the spine and back, and even on the disc itself, which I'll show you in just a few minutes, as this was the logo they got from Warner Brothers Discovery, their parent company. And it also has the 2024 print logo for Warner Brothers Pictures as well, that they've also been using on like posters and stuff. In addition to being co-produced by Blinding Edge Pictures and New Line Cinema. And this is the thing that I want to mention about the recent New Line Cinema films, is that just like before, is that they've kind of gone back to how they were in terms of their logo and stuff. They've kind of gone back to how they were doing it in like 2010, like before 2011, when they had the Warner Brothers and New Line combo logo. What I'm trying to say is that this year New Line Cinema debuted a new on-screen logo that is basically a remake of their 1994 logo, even having the original fanfare that came with that logo on this film as well, by the way. And in terms of the Warner Brothers Pictures logo on their films, they just have the Warner Brothers Pictures 2023 closing logo at the end of their films now. And New Line Cinema's done this with quite a few of their films as of recent. Like, they did it as a prototype with The Nun 2 last year, which used the old 1994 New Line Cinema logo, albeit with the Warner Brothers Discovery byline, and then at the end of the film they would use the 2021 closing logo with the Warner Brothers Discovery byline. And even now, New Line Cinema are doing this with their new remade logo and with the 2023 closing Warner Brothers Pictures logo. And they've used that technique on films such as Turtles All the Way Down, which was released on Max in the United States, which is obviously Warner Brothers streaming service, as well as other films like obviously The Watched or The Watchers if you live in America, and also Horizon and American Saga, and I think they've also done it on Salem's Lot as well, the new version that's going to be coming out in UK cinemas at the end of this week, that I think was released on Max in the United States last week. And there's the disc itself with the new Warner Brothers Home Entertainment print logo, the New Line Cinema print logo, and all the other stuff. And now going back to children's DVDs, moving away from the more mature stuff, is Bob the Builder Project Build It, Bob's Big Plan. Special Extended Adventure, plus 3 brand new stories. This is a release from Hit Entertainment in early 2005, co-produced with Hot Animation, as with all the other DVDs of the original Bob the Builder. So this DVD includes the special extended episode Bob's Big Plan, as well as the first 3 episodes from Project Build It, Bob's Fresh Start, Lofty Shelter, and Dizzy and the Talkie Talkie. And there's the disc itself. And the next one is another Bob the Builder DVD, Built to be Wild, the movie. Never seen on TV, featuring the voices of Neil Morrissey, obviously, Donny Osmond, and Susie Quattro. And technically also Kate Harbour and Rob Rackstraw as well, because obviously Muck and Spud make an appearance in the film, and they're probably portrayed by Rob Rackstraw as they were in the series. Obviously, this is a release from Hit Entertainment. This one's from 2006, again co-produced by Hot Animation. And the special features include Stinky Spud's Jailbreak Game, Songs from the West, Adventure Roundup, and exclusive footage from the West End premiere. And the film also introduces new characters Jackaroo and Rio. And there's the disc itself. Moving away from Bob the Builder, but still sticking within the realm of Hit Entertainment, is Thomas and Friends, Thomas's Trusty Friends. So this is a DVD release of the Jack and the Sodor Construction Company series, or as it was originally called, Jack and the Pack. Never seen on TV. Brand new stories plus new characters. So, like with Bob the Builder, we're sticking with a construction theme in terms of the Hit Entertainment stuff. Another release from Hit Entertainment, this time with To Entertain, as with most of the Thomas DVDs at the time. This one was from 2006. The episodes are A Tale for Thomas, Thomas and the Moles, Kelly's Windy Day, Percy Helps Out, The Tortoise and the Hare, Thomas's Trusty Friends, On Site with Thomas, Alfie Has Kittens, A Happy Day for Percy, A Visit from Thomas, and Mud Glorious Mud. Now, in terms of a little bit of history behind this series, originally this was in development when Ghislaine Entertainment were the owners of the Thomas franchise back in like 2002, but during the middle of production of the series, Hit Entertainment eventually bought Ghislaine and the entire Thomas franchise. And since Hit Entertainment already owned Bob the Builder, which was a show with a similar premise to Jack and the Sodor Construction Company, as having colourful construction vehicles that can talk as the main focus of the series, they cancelled Jack and the Pack, or Jack and the Sodor Construction Company. However, they did complete some episodes, but instead of being released in 2003 alongside Season 7, like they were intending over at Ghislaine, Hit would eventually release the episodes in 2006 on home media, alongside whoever was distributing the Thomas DVDs at the time in different countries, whether it was To Entertain in the UK and Ireland, or in the United States with Anchor Bay Entertainment. And that's pretty much what happened, is that, and in addition to that, with the series originally going to be released early on in like 2003 and being filmed in like 2002, originally this would have had music by Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell, which were the composers of the original music for Thomas and Tugs as well. But when this was actually released, it actually had the newer music by Robert Hartshorn. Although it still remained the narration from Michael Angelis, as the Thomas series was still using his narration at the time. And plus this also has the 2004 intro to Thomas that was done by Robert Hartshorn, and it also has the making tracks to Great Destination stuff on it, and some learning segments as well, which are typical for the early Hit era releases, which are still enjoyable to watch. Like, even though they're different from the classic series, I still enjoy these I still somewhat enjoy these because they're part of my childhood. And they're actually still good. They still have good substance, even if the Hit era is a bit dumbed down compared to the original series. It can still be. It can still have a lot of appeal to it, in my opinion, and still made itself unique compared to other shows at the time. And there's the disc itself. And now, moving completely away from preschool and children's DVDs, the next 5 DVDs, and the first 2 are James Bond films, in which the first one is The Living Daylights, which is a release from MGM, distributed by 20th Century Fox in 2001. The film itself is from 1987, though. And there's the disc itself. And then the next one is License to Kill, which is pretty much the only James Bond film to be rated 15 in the UK, unless you count some of the Blu-ray releases of some of the later James Bond releases. Like, I think Casino Royale on Blu-ray, on one of the Blu-ray or 4K releases, was rated 15. Anyway, this is a release from, again, MGM and Fox from 2001. The film itself, though, is from 1989. And there's the disc itself. And the next one is Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, and Aidan Quinn. After the fall from innocence, the legend begins. A widescreen presentation. This also includes the Columbia TriStar DVD hologram, which was on a few of the early Columbia TriStar DVD releases from 1998 and 1999. Yes, their titles on DVD actually date back to 1998 in this country. And this is actually one of them. The film itself is from 1994, but the DVD is from 1998, and this is also a TriStar Pictures film. And there's the disc itself. Next one is Red Corner, starring Richard Gere, a John Avnet film, Severity for Those Who Resist. This is an MGM release from 1999. It's one of their earliest DVD releases, in which it was distributed when they had their original deal with Warner Home Video back in the 80s and 90s, and then during the early 2000s up until like 2020, their titles were distributed mainly by 20th Century Fox, and then during 2020 they went back to Warner Brothers, mainly due to Disney's acquisition of Fox in 2019. They didn't renew their deal with Fox. And there's the disc itself. And the final DVD in this update overall is When Saturday Comes, starring Sean Bean, Emily Lloyd, and Pete Postlewaite. Wait, I can't really remember how to pronounce his name. Presented in widescreen. To Jimmy, life was just a game, until the game became his life. This is a release from Pathé, distributed by 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment, and also a film from Capitol Films. The film itself is from 1995, as it says there, but I can't remember if it was released in the UK in either 1995 or 1996. But what I do know is that this DVD was released in 2001, as it says over there. Excuse me. And there's the disc itself. And that concludes this long update, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon, and see you later.